I don't know what kind of black magic they found to be coming away with these ugly games consistently, but they're doing it, so I gotta give them some props for that, right? Welcome to the jungle, everyone. I'm Kyle Phelps, and there is no certainty, only chaos. The NFL is chaos incarnate. We saw some incredible upsets in the NFL this week, and boy, did they make the rankings difficult to figure out this week. But before we get into that, I'd just like to ask that you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content. It really helps my channel out, and it helps you know when all of my content comes out. I don't know if we've had another week this year with as much upward momentum from the bottom three categories as we have this week. Real quick, before we get into the good stuff, I just want to highlight a few of these teams to at least throw them a bone for being mildly interesting this week. There's the Arizona Cardinals, who might be without Kyler Murray for a while now, and I think the season is totally and completely dead at this point. It's time to tank, y'all. Then you got the Pittsburgh Steelers, who I'll talk a little bit more about at the end of the episode, but I gave them a boost despite their loss. Why? Because I had them in tank time last week, and that was probably a little bit ridiculous, so I'm adjusting it this week to make up for that. But again, a more significant explanation about that at the end. Finally, the Las Vegas Raiders, who I mistakenly believed were playoff hopefuls last week. Silly me. After letting Baker Mayfield do that to you after not even knowing anybody on the team yet, yeah, they're not making the playoffs. So that's all the time I'm going to spend on those three categories. We're going to move on to the playoff hopefuls. At 16 and 15, I'm holding off on getting too excited about the Seattle Seahawks and Detroit Lions right now because Geno Smith looks like he's regressing, and the Lions, they're the Lions. So, number 14, I've got the Tennessee Titans. Be afraid, Titans fans. Be wary. What looked like an easy walk-in division title this year is now a bit on notice. They still have a 2-game lead over the Jacksonville Jaguars right now, but one more loss and they could be in danger of potentially missing the playoffs entirely. Number 13, I've got the New England Patriots, who overcame their offensive struggles eventually on Monday night to put the hapless Cardinals away and keep their playoff hopes very much alive. Number 12, I've got the Washington Commanders. They were on a bye this week, so they stayed put. At number 11, I've got the Baltimore Ravens. They got down to their third-string quarterback and still won this week. So, it looks ugly every week, but they keep winning. I don't know what kind of black magic they found to be coming away with these ugly games consistently, but they're doing it, so I gotta give them some props for that, right? Moving along, we've got the contenders. Number 10, I've got the New York Jets. That defense is worthy of this category alone, but the offense is not. Mike White is not the answer. I don't think anybody expected him to genuinely be. But I think they have a chance to make some noise in the playoffs, and I wouldn't be shocked if they didn't either. Number 9, I've got the Miami Dolphins. And Tua did not look good this week, man. The Dolphins are going to need the good version of him to get anything done in January. Number 8, I've got the New York Giants, who I really kind of want to tank further. It's just hard to justify that considering who is below them right now. They're so injured, but it's really hard to justify knocking them too far down every week when the teams below them keep giving me reasons to keep them in place too. They're limping into the playoffs though, and that's not good. Number 7, the Minnesota Vikings stumbled this week against the Detroit Lions, but I think their results on the season as a whole allow the Vikings a bit of a mulligan here. They'll be fine, I think. Finally, at number 6, I've got the San Francisco 49ers. I have a lot of trouble thinking of them as Super Bowl contenders with Brock Purdy starting, but I'm not going to lie, they look pretty damn good right now, man, and Brock looks, serviceable at the very least. Alright, so let's go ahead and move on to the Super Bowl caliber teams. At number 5, I've got the Dallas Cowboys. Shout out to my boy, Majestic YT, who insists that the Cowboys should be higher. Like the team you're talking about struggled against the Colts and Texans recently, man. I don't know what to tell you. I also know you ain't trying to bring up that Week 2 game against a recovering Joe Burrow as an example of what the team's power ranking should be now heading into Week 15. Number 4, the Buffalo Bills handled the New York Jets this week. It wasn't the most impressive win I've ever seen from them, but they got the job done, and that's what matters. I'm concerned about the loss of Von Miller for the season, but we'll see how they're going to handle that going forward, right? Number 3, the Kansas City Chiefs remain in place after putting away the Denver Broncos. They struggled a little bit, though, and made that Broncos offense look competent. So I have my concerns, especially, they lost the Colts this year. They can't seem to overcome the Bengals. Are they the number 3 team in the NFL? Right now, yes. Are they going to stay there through the next 4 weeks? I don't know. We'll see. But for now, they're still in control of the number 1 seed in the AFC. Which brings me to my number 2 team, the Cincinnati Bengals, who finally got the Cleveland Browns monkey off their backs this week. And all the people who call me biased for this ranking, all the other power rankings outlets have them pretty much this high too, guys. They're 9-2 since an inexplicable rough start, and 7-1 since Zach Taylor allegedly handed the offense over to Joe Burrow in Week 5. So tell me, who's better than the Bengals in the AFC right now? That's what these power rankings are about. What you're looking like right now, not what you looked like at the beginning of the season. In the NFC, though, I do think the Eagles are better, which brings me to my number 1 team in the NFL. How do you stop them? I don't they're so complete. Seriously, I don't think they have any holes at all to exploit in Philadelphia. So there's the list this week, guys. Here's the whole list together so that y'all can see everything all at once and get a better view of how I see the NFL right now. I'm sure you're going to have plenty to say about it, just like last week, but I want all the smoke, guys. Give me your best shot in the comments below, and I'll feature the best ones in my next video. Like this one from Davis Dull, who said, the Steelers have a 5-7 record, the exact same record as the Raiders, and the Raiders are, with your logic, above a playoff hunt team, and you have the Steelers at the bottom of the list. Looks like you're a Bengals fan. Well, first of all, yes, I am a Bengals fan, but I try to keep my bias out of my analysis if you've watched my channel. Y'all are going to feel the way you're going to feel about these rankings, I get it, but I get criticized for being both a homer and too pessimistic every week, so I'm dismissing the Bengals fan comment, quite frankly. Second of all, though, you are right. You are right, Davis Dull. I will admit. I don't know how I overlooked the Steelers in staying in tank time last week despite being on a bit of a win streak. That was a bit of an oversight on my part, and I corrected it this week. Now, the Raiders don't deserve to be as high as I had them. That was a bit of an oversight as well. That said, the Steelers are not a playoff team, and I think they proved that this week. The Raiders probably aren't either, honestly. But I've been much more impressed with the Raiders' recent run of performance than the Steelers. At the time, the Raiders were on a 3-game win streak against other potential playoff teams like the Seahawks and the Chargers. The Steelers, on the other hand, they had 2 wins in a row against the Falcons and Colts. And they would be 4-9 right now if our long snapper hadn't gotten hurt in Week 1. Literally, the only reason y'all won that game is because we missed the extra point at the end of the game. So, miss me with that Steelers are a playoff hunt team nonsense. Right now, all they're doing is screwing up their draft positioning, and I'm all here for that. But because of that, they're probably not in tank time, right? But that's pretty much all I got for this week, y'all. Until we find out what chaos awaits us next week, y'all can always find more of what I do at KylePhelps92 on Twitter, Facebook.com/ThePhelps, ATBNetwork.com, Butt Fumble Sports, the Battle of Ohio podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, and right here if you subscribe. The race is starting to heat up, y'all. I can't wait to see how things shake up next week. For now, I'll leave y'all, as always, with a hootie! There we go.